I've made a severe and continuous lapse in my judgment, and I don't expect to be forgiven. I'm simply here to apologize. The View update was posted early this month due to Chinese New Year, and I missed it. And for that, from the bottom of my heart, I'm truly sorry. The goal of my content is always to entertain and keep you updated on cool Indiegogo and Kickstarter projects. I don't expect to be forgiven. I'm just here to apologize. I'm ashamed of myself. I'm disappointed with myself, and I promise to do better. That being said, let's get into this month's update. So as we talked about in the last video, Chinese New Year basically slows down production for factories and vendors in China where the View glasses are being developed. So this is why their update has come out early, because it's pretty much for the rest of February, nothing happens. So this is what happened in the first part of February, and it's quite substantial considering the short amount of time. Firstly, the stuff we wouldn't want to miss, View's New Year office party. I'm unsure if every person in the office wears glasses or if this was just for the picture, but you know, they're looking good. So what I've said is a lot of them go home for the Chinese holidays. In particular, their production manager Jia travels to northern China where it's actually the same temperature as it is in England. Cold as balls. That being said, he took a prototype of the glasses with him to northern China just to test how it does in cold weather conditions. Not as an official test, just as like a run through. Here they are on a frozen dog sculpture. You leave the jokes to me, View. And what I said, although it's not an official test, that there actually were no issues in cold weather, which is actually quite a big factor for any device that uses like a built-in battery. People with cameras, people with phones will attest to being in really cold weather conditions, the device just stops. So the fact they've had no issues is good. Next we're on to the injection molding phase. We talked about this in quite a lot of detail in the last video, all of the acronyms they use for all the technical manufacturing stuff. CNC shop, EDM, PCBs and FPCs, SMT. We haven't got to cover that this time, we just get the results. So they've said, as we mentioned in our previous update, we've been working hard with our factories to ensure they can produce our T0, pronounced T0. I said T-O a lot in the last video, I'm sorry.
I don't expect to be forgiven.
Ensure they can produce the T0 samples before the holiday. We're happy to report everything went according to plan. We went to our factories in the first week of February to watch the very first samples come out of the mold. So that's good. So we talked about last time how if there was any miscalculations with the big metal blocks that go into the plastic molding machine, or any real world factors that can affect the plastic molding, such as temperature, moisture, lots of other stuff, and there were any defects with the T0s, they would basically have to start that process again, which they kind of laid out the timelines, takes around about a month. So they've said there were no issues with that, and we've got a quick video of the T0s coming out of the plastic molding machine. So the metal plates, you see them poking out there, are just inserts which they put in during plastic molding. So what I said with the clip we've just watched, with the classic shape glasses which were being produced, the plate which was used worked fine, kept the shape of the lens and came out nice and easily. However, with the trendy shape glasses, of course, the ones that I've ordered, there were some issues. Indeed. What I've said, although all of their calculations were correct, just those real world issues we talked about affected them when they came out. A couple of the inserts were so hard to get out, unfortunately they kind of permanently bent some of the prototypes. However, what they've said is this doesn't cause that entire month rollback of redoing all of the stuff to go into the plastic molding. It's literally maybe just a setting which they can adjust on the machine for the next time. So these were the T0s. They've now explained T0 will be this first one that they produced, the very first prototype. The next round they do where they fix the issue with the trendy glasses will be the T1, and then after that the T2, T3 and so on. Hopefully this process doesn't go on so long that they eventually get up to the T800. I ain't sign up for that. So because the TOs have come out okay, they've said, we assembled units with the latest electronics, firmware and mold samples and have been testing them. The latest versions are our best ones yet. It's been exciting to test them over the past couple of weeks, as we're finally seeing View come closer to a reality. So with every round of new assembly, they do additional reliability tests. In the past, we've seen them do the hinge test to make sure that it doesn't wear out after opening and closing a bunch of times. This time it was a test involving electrostatic discharge. Basically involves zapping the glasses with 8,000 volts of electricity to make sure they can withstand a static shock. There's a video of it right here. Now if you're like me, you were expecting something more like this. However, they have said that the glasses did pass this test. 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 Next is onto the glasses case. So we've looked at this before where it's completely changed design from that weird sort of insert tube design to the standard design of a glasses case. We've seen electronic blueprints where we were speculating on which method they would use to charge, but now we've got actual video of a prototype of the glasses case. So that is how they're going to sit in the case and charge. The small light you see flashing in the bottom right corner basically tells you that they are currently charging. And obviously because this is a prototype, this is nowhere near the final color scheme or the inside material they're going to use or anything like that. But it's just good to see that the prototype is finished and it works. Next I cover branding quickly. Something they've not really talked about before, but they're going through a rebranding process just in time before they produce all of their packaging. They're working on a new logo, new color scheme, and that'll be present on the packaging, and you'll start to see a change across their social media pages, their Kickstarter page, their actual website. And if you've backed it on Kickstarter, you'll basically get the first look at all of this new branding. If you haven't backed on Kickstarter but you're subscribed to this channel, you'll still see it. So there's some mock-up designs here of the new packaging which they're producing. They've said although it's just a small instance of the product's lifetime, the packaging they want to be like an experience. So they're putting a lot of effort into this. I'm not too sure about the font. To me it kind of looks like Times New Roman, the like default font you used to get on Word. However, I've never not purchased a product because I didn't like the font on their box. That would be stupid. Next I cover the mobile app, obviously still an important aspect of this product because it's how you're going to interact with them, how you can change the settings and features, how you're going to view your activity summaries, and how you find them if you've lost them. So there's some mock-up designs here of the first kind of onboarding, so when you first put them on you pair them with your Bluetooth. So they've said they've finished UI design shortly and will begin testing. I say shortly, but obviously I'm like 2 weeks late to this video, so hopefully it's in process now. And lastly, an update on timelines. As I've done before, I don't like to kind of skew or get any of this information wrong, so I'm just going to read the timeline from their update. The reason we shifted our update to the middle of this month is to give ourselves time to sit down with our factories after the holidays in early March. Thanks for telling me. We'll be able to discuss remaining issues, get time estimates for fixes, and we'll talk about a realistic date for kicking off mass production. We will need to test our T1 samples before we freeze a design and give production the green light. So obviously T1 design should include the fixes to the trendy glasses and just any other small anomalies they've noticed in the T0. While we still want to hit March to begin shipping units, we won't know for sure until we sit down with our factories. The next update will come out in mid-March so we can give everyone a clearer picture on schedules. So a reminder for me to check for an update in the middle of next month. So with that being said, with the information we've seen in this update, I want to hear from you. I want you to tell me, do you think a March deadline for mass production and shipping is still realistic? Do you think they've still got too much work to do, too many small details to finalize? They've still got to finish the app, they've still got to work out packaging and branding. Do you think March is still a realistic timeline? I want to know. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. If you like this video, remember to give it a thumbs up to make sure you don't miss the update in mid-March. Remember to subscribe to the channel. As always, thanks for watching, and I shall see you in the next one.